First of all, I appreciate Professor Kenizme and Dr. Hirohirai for giving me this opportunity. And thank you for coming. Let me start. Introduction. In this session, we shed light on the logic underlying their intentions from internal Jesuit material. In addition, we will compare the internal documents and published work, which are closely related to the role of the provincial bloc later. For this purpose, we focus on a conflict that occurred on the interior of two Jesuit provinces, namely Japan province and China Vice province, in the 1640s, at the end of the Christian century in Japan. And the representative fathers of their provinces, Cardin and Semedo. Japanese fathers, we don't have pictures. Both were given the title of provincial procurator, and as such were fully responsible for their respective missions in negotiations, mainly financial, with spiritual and secular authorities. Contrary to Lista Barignano, who remained in the Far East, they returned to Europe to continue working there. By focusing on the activities, aspects of the conflict and the cooperation of the provinces will become apparent. In specific, we will consider the problem of jurisdiction over the Jesuit Macao College, which had previously been and was then a center of the Japan province, situated in a profitable port city, Macao. In the last days of the Christian century, Macao, the center of the Japan province, attempted to rebuild its relationship with Japan, damaged by the Japanese Fifth Seclusion Decree in 1639, which banned Portuguese ships. The next year, Macao dispatched a delegation to request trade resumption, of which the Tokugawa shogunate executed a total of 61 members, 4 fathers and 57 crews. In this year, Portugal accomplished the restoration, again asserting its independence from Spain. In 1647, Shoho force, 2 Portuguese vessels were sent under the pretext of informing on this state of affairs to visit Japan, but negotiations failed again. Thereafter, diplomatic relations of Japan and Portugal remained interrupted. Meanwhile, the Jesuits entered China following Matteo Ricci, and the mission flourished there. China became an independent vice province from Japan province around 1623 through the negotiation of the Flemish Jesuit Nicolas Torigot, who then returned to Europe. Then, missionary activities advanced in the territory of the Ming, Southern Ming dynasty, and despite an incident in 16, Nanjing case or Nanjing persecution also advanced to the area of the Qin dynasty to evangelize the officers of its upper class. Thus, China Vice Province was established in a manner to divide the human and the financial resources of Japan Province at the precise time in lost Japan itself. To Cardin and Semedo. The lives of Cardin and Semedo are shown on the screen. This is Antonio Cardin, who worked in various areas in Japan province. And Alvaro Semedo, this is the Nestorian state. They visited many areas in the course of their mission, gathered information and reported to other further, and sometimes published later. Both of them, as mentioned before, become provincial procurators after having experienced the key positions in their province. Their experience are essential to consider when reviewing their writing. The word procurator means negotiator on the behalf of others. We can confirm in the Christian century at least 5 different roles, different levels of a procurator. A provincial procurator would be elected to attend the general congregation conducted in Rome as a representative of the province, negotiating to protect the financial interests of the province. In Europe, especially in Rome at the Jesuit headquarters and in the Holy See, or in Lisbon and in Madrid at the Royal Court. They solicit donations and authorizations as well as recruit new members to travel to the province. Instead, let's say, procurators generally reported and published the results of evangelism to make it known, both inside and outside of the company of Jesus. However, as a matter of course, there is a difference in the contents written. With reference to the altar work, publication was limited to only the mission successes. We consider the problem of jurisdiction. Where does Macao Palace belong? In Japan province or the China Vice province? Macao was essential for commerce and mission from a geographical perspective. As described above, Semendo visited Rome and raised funds in Goa. However, he diverted funds from Japan province. Harding made memorials against this action, such as this document, written in Latin, dated May 5th, 1646, from Rome. Here we trace a summary of the dispute. Sorry. Japan province had a glorious history from the time of Xavier's first landing. From the time of the Seclusion Edict in 1614, persecution became more violent, and the province expanded in Southeast Asia here. Reaching Cochin, China, Cambodia, Sham, Tonkin, Hainan, Laos, and Caoban, the border area between Vietnam and China. The number of glorious martyrs in Japan and new believers in other regions also increased. The capital of the expanding province was Macao College, built by the Portuguese and under the control of the current king of Portugal, John IV. Therefore, the total number of colleges and residence church was written. The number of Japanese martyrs and believers of each region were mentioned. Finally, Harding gave reasons why Macao should belong to the Japan province. First, while there was martyrdom in Japan, Christianity was growing in other areas. Second, hope to recover in Japan had not been lost. The shogun Emmet did not have a child and was not in good health. No controversy. Reason of the Jesuit of China. So we can summarize Emmet's argument. The Jesuits should give up Japan province and make China instead as a province, upgrading it from the status of vice province. Macao currency is in Macao. Only I'll show you this part. Japan is no longer in a situation where missionaries are able to work due to the seclusion and persecution. In other missions undertaken by the fathers of Japan province, there has been nothing obtained that can be compared with China. Therefore, Macao College should appertain to China and become the capital of China province. Cardin replied that Macao should belong to Japan province. Macao College does not necessarily appertain to the China Vice province only because it is situated in China. And it is in a Portuguese city under the control of the king. Japan province is an important entity having a history that stretches back to Xavier. And there are many Christians in Japan. If there is no public church, then each house is a church, just like as the case in the initial church. Before the persecution, we had 500,000 believers in 1614, and after 30 years, we have 225,000. With only 14 Jesuit pastors, while in China we have sufficient number of missionaries. And it is not that we have no wish to recover diplomatic relations with Japan. Cardin insisted under first presidencies. The Portuguese caught in Japan met with the shogun and were released, receiving hospitality. Trade is likely to recover, and the shogun asked for the delegation if Portugal achieves independence from Spain. It is an opportunity to urge the king to dispatch an embassy. Thus, we hope for peaceful relation between the two nations. Cardin, on this first information, or no, we don't know whether, but he insisted, he urged the king to send an embassy. And churches and colleges in Japan cannot be recovered, but Japan province itself is from. Macao College is the headquarters, and we have many colleges in other regions. The number of believers in Tonkin and Cochin, China was larger than that of all China, despite of loss. And then Semedo was elected as procurator in 1636 as visitor Manuel Diaz, the intention, who experienced discord with leaders of Japan province, so did not like Japan province. But however, Cardin was elected soon after as a procurator to attend the general congregation. So, Cardin claimed of this action, and Semedo traveled to Europe at the improper expense of Japan province possession. And Semedo spent funds of the province of Japan for China province, Vice province, which Japan province no longer needed to pay because China was not at that time independent. And Cardin noted further examples of Semedo's theft in Lisbon and in Goa. In one case, Cardin recovered Japanese money lost by Semedo and wrote, now the king is also aware of the flag of Semedo. And Cardin continued to refute Semedo's claims. Semedo claimed Japanese further purposeless as believers had died out. Cardin denied this, saying that in fact these fathers are working in Tonkin and Cochin, China. Moreover, Semedo is trying to usurp these fruits in his book. Semedo wrote that the province of Japan is rich, but Cardin examined its income and expenses as follows here. The budget income budgetary income is on the screen here. Sorry. In total, 11,000 gold cruzado. But actually, this is insufficient. Only 4,500 because of renters that were not receiving payment. Therefore, trade was needed to avoid the deficit. But it was impossible to conduct trade between Macao and Japan for the sake of faith, and between Macao and Manila for the sake of independence. The usual expenses are about 11,000, like in 1580s, the time of Panyano, like that. In addition, in recent years, there are temporary expenditures, namely missions in Laos, by Giovanni Battista Bonelli and Giovanni Maria Lelia, and martyrs groups led by Antonio Rubino and Pedro Marquez in Japan. The former spent 3,000 and 1,000 crusade, respectively, and the latter 4,000 each. Dr. Shimizu discussed on Rubino's martyrdom on her book. We can suppose that from the high cost, about 30 to 40% of annual budget of this project, it was executed by provincial common consent. And another problem was that the funds of Japan province were used for other provinces by the procurator responsible for the Indian viceroyalty living in Lisbon. Semedo wrote that Japan was rich, but income never exceeded 12,000. Japan province is rich, but not in gold and silver, but by the blood of martyrdom. After the Calvin demonstrated that the China vice province actually had a considerable fortune. Renters in Macao, in mainland China, and in Lisbon, as well as payment for capita for Jesuits coming from Goa. Therefore, China is richer than Japan. Nevertheless, Semedo wants Japan province. And Calvin's remedies, Macao should belong to Japan province. So Calvin recommended measures for the problem of the funds, not to act inadequately as already mentioned. We can note one example. Once Calvin's Erodiolum, now in print, was completed and dedicated to the Pope, the Japan province would receive his charity in Madrid. We can compare with published sources. Calvin conducted such a claim in the interior of the Jesuit administration. How were these facts published to the outside? In fact, on the other works of Calvin, in the Relazione and Battalias, he began with a description of the glory of Japan province and discussed the missionary situation in various places in the province. This is consistent with the sources mentioned above. In other words, the internal historical materials that treat this delicate problem and the external reporting fortuned shared sentence structures. Both are made based on the law of the provincial procurator. On the other hand, Pedro Morejon, who worked for Japan province, and Antonio Calvin, both experienced procurators of Japan. Share missionary achievement in the China vice province in their books. This is Pedro Morejon, who mentioned Chinese success. He noted the first persecution in China with the Japanese martyrdom report. Calvin quoted his rival Semedo's report in his about the conversion of Ming royal members. Furthermore, further in China Vice Province took a page from the historical events of Japan Province. For example, Semedo took missionary success in Vietnam from the record of Japan Province, as mentioned above. In addition, it was referred to in Antonio Gobea's Asia Extrema in this way. Japan Province and the China Vice Province were in conflict with each other for the acquisition and the use of missionary funds, while they shared the glory for the whole Jesuit company. In addition, provincial procurators used the same content for internal and external reports, even they are in opposition over the main argument. Now, conclusion. We have discussed a small part of the history of Jesuit work in East Asia. The fate of the two provinces could be determined by their procurators. The initiative and attempt of Semedo was unsuccessful. The Macao College continued to be under the jurisdiction of Japan Province. In 1650s, the annual report of Japan Province allocated one chapter to reporting the situation of in and out of Macao College. Finally, we want to reaffirm the significance of the attention to a particular Jesuit individual. The Cabinet recommended John I to send an ambassadorial delegation to Japan. Publications of Semedo and other Chinese Jesuits created such a great reverberation that they were translated into each of the languages. Further, also not discussed in this session, French Jesuit Alexander Rose, who was active in Vietnam, even if his missionary activity was conducted with an emphasis on the local community, was opposed to the interest of Japan Province to create missions étrangères to Paris that could claim the Jesuit jurisdiction over evangelization in that area. In this way, following each procurator, we can clarify the circumstances of Japan Province, its expansion in Southeast Asia, and the events caused by personalities and individual qualities which can be set in a larger global context. Thank you for your attention.